Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. And boy, today's news, world news, U.S. military will not admit uh, about this F 35. What's going on with that? Well, folks, first I want to tell you that, when an airliner crashes, they get all the parts, they try to put it back together again, and they find out what went wrong. It takes a lot of time. They're not going to come out with no report tomorrow or today what happened. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a couple weeks, maybe. I could be wrong. They could come out tomorrow. But what do we do know about the U.S. military and missing the F 35? But, we should be aware of what we do know. The Pentagon has a habit of misplacing resources, but it's getting ridiculous because what we see with not only the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense, uh, uh, the Pentagon has been so private that they're not telling anybody anything. And if it has to do with any top political figure, of course they're not going to say anything. But this is just an F 35 plane that crashed, right? The pilot ejected. We know that as much. And then the plane they had a hard time finding. And William went over that last night. On Sunday, the military officials in South Carolina announced they had lost the F 35B. It's a Lightning II jet fighter. The aircraft vanished mid flight, and officials sought the public's help in relocating it. But should um, they accompany all government announcements in this case? Americans might raise an eyebrow over both the missing aircraft and certain details officials neglected to emphasize. They don't have to tell us anything. They could just say, hey, it crashed, we found it, and we'll give you a report at the end of the week. They don't have to, nobody really has to say anything. But according to Entertainment News, the aircraft went missing around 2 p.m. Sunday when the pilot, for unknown reason, ejected somewhere over North Charleston, South Carolina. After the explanation, after the unexplained ejection, uh, made an appeal for public assistance of looking for the plane. If you have any information, they said, of recovery or seen it fall, seen it blow up, or see things in your yard, pastures, etc., please, give the Base Defense Operations Center a phone call. So they were asking for the public's help. And of course, the military did not share all the details. And why should they? If this is if it was just a routine flyover, yes. But if they were on a special mission or a special training, they're not going to tell us squat. For some reason that they haven't told us yet, and it hasn't been determined. That's why they put out the public's request for help. The aircraft is stealth, so it has different coatings, different designs that make it more difficult than normal aircraft to be detected. More than 24 hours later, the aircraft remains missing, they said. Most likely crashed either in a rural area or even in the ocean, they said. They didn't really have um, a, a set target to go looking. Is it a conspiracy? Was it an unlike this one, F 35 is gone for a joyride. They don't go for joyrides. I'm going to tell you, usually it's a special training exercise that they're a part of. It's not for a joyride. The bomber has been given to Ukraine, and this is a BS story to cover the tracks. And maybe they were flying. And missing the F-35 might seem like a small potatoes in military, but it is a big waste of millions of dollars to replace this plane. So what happened? We don't know. Everybody, I can sit and I could say, well, this is what I think. This is what my opinion is. And William could do the same thing. But when, all in all, we just have to wait and see what the report says. Then we can say, well, maybe you're wrong there, maybe you're wrong here and there, and uh, this isn't right. Doesn't seem right. You're not giving us all the info. Then we can say something. But all of these news medias, folks, that is out there, and they're giving their own opinions of what happened until we get a report. It's like, what happened to, what was it, Flight 360 that just disappeared? We still don't know anything. And they gave a whole bunch of nothing for uh, people to gain conspiracies over. Let's not get conspiracy. Isn't that right, William? Let's not go for the conspiracy. Let's just wait, see what they have to say, see how they explain it, and then let's take a look at it and see if uh, fact check them and see if they're right. Because something's up. Something's up. And everybody said, isn't it weird they didn't find it? And then that was a question I asked William last night was, um, since they haven't, what about the beacon on it? Well, yeah, there's beacons to find it, but what if it was blown up in the air and it the beacon for it was in the ocean and the rest of it's on land? We'd be looking in the ocean. You got to give them time, folks. Got to give them time to take a look at this and see what they find out, and then let's pick apart what they want to present to the media and also to the American people. Um, so, the thing, boy, this is just jumping right into Joe Biden. Um, he claims he was never involved in his son's dealings, and more and more. And it gets me as media isn't saying anything about it. They're saying, "Oh, it's all a conspiracy." Well, there is actual documents. Now, I've even told you about documents. I've told you what he did in Ukraine. I've told you what they had done in China. All of the documents are there between Peter Swice, Grassi, and a few others, Jordan, that they have got a hold of a lot of these records to show that Joe and Hunter were working together to make money. Who wouldn't do that? If you found a way to make millions of dollars, maybe it wasn't so legal. Maybe, maybe you didn't know about it. Maybe it wasn't so right. If you could gain millions, you'd probably do it and then suffer the consequences at the end. The lottery ticket. We know it's not good to do it, but we do it anyway and we play it. Are we going to win? Maybe, maybe not. But this is way different, though, folks. Um, we have we have videos, we have pictures, we have documents of Joe and Biden together uh, going and making lots, millions, billions off of not only in Ukraine, but other places in the Middle East, all the way to China, and over again. You see them two together a lot. And then when you question how come they're together so much, they said, well, it's just all the pictures show it that way. But now when you start looking into it and you start looking at Joe Biden with Hunter Biden, they go place to place to place together. They went to the Middle East together. They went to Ukraine together. They went to China together. They went everywhere they go together. And What is Hunter Biden doing during the times when they make these trips? Joe Biden is got speaking arrangements. And what does Hunter do? Is he off doing crack and prostitutes? Or is he out wheeling and dealing with the countries to make millions of dollars? And as we have looked, it's not about the crack and the prostitutes. To me, that is like Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky in the dress. Forget about the drugs and all that and the prostitutes. We need to keep our focus on what was going on with the business dealings that Hunter Biden was doing. Now, if he did it without his dad knowing, I doubt it. And what has resurfaced with these videos with Joe, uh, they're working the room together despite claims he was never involved. They're in there. He's talking to the same people that his son has made dealings with. Now, you can't say that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that Joe Biden wasn't all there. He had a sharp mind back then. Go back and listen to him. He was there. It's only recent that we're seeing this little bit of dementia or his memory failure or him just being old. But when it comes to the dealings of these two and the family, now tell me why their granddaughter would have $1 million put in by another country. What was she doing in this country? See, this is what Grassy is promoting, is saying, why would a little girl, not even out of kindergarten, got $1 million in doing dealings with China? Does she even know how to deal with China? Does she even know how to come up with business deals? And this is a way of going about hiding money. They just found a new way, like the Clintons with the foundations. The Biden family, per se, isn't using foundations. They're using different bank accounts. And they're funneling the money bank account to bank account to bank account. And this is something the Clintons did until eventually it ended up in their foundation. What we're seeing is with Joe Biden, it's not that way. It's not ending up in a foundation because what did they learn with the Clintons and Obamas? They got busted out for using foundation to move um, millions of dollars from country to country into their accounts or have a country donate to their foundation. And then they would give favors. So now we're looking at, so how does a little kid end up with $1 million from China? See, that's what the whole thing is at Grassy and Jordan have been zeroing in on, is the fact that these kids and the grandkids and the great grandkids shouldn't have dealings with China or Afghanistan, Pakistan, and all these different countries that are third world countries, Libya, Saudi. Why are their kids? Why is the money going into the kids' account and not their own? If this is legit, everybody always runs the whole thing. Is it a double? Is that a Hillary double? Does Biden have a double? Well, now the media, and it's even mainstream media, are saying, does Fetterman have a double? Now, Karen and Susan would know, they're in that state. Is he a little different? Is he dressed a little different? Is he talking a little bit different? Does he have a body double? And that's beside the point. What got me was the Senate and Congress are now to, so that they can accept his attire, what he wears. They want to change clothing codes for Congress and Senate. They shouldn't have to wear suits and ties anymore. And they've even allowed to the point where they could have bikinis. I want to know if which of these old ladies in Congress and Senate are going to wear bikinis. I mean, I don't want to watch that day. Why are they dropping standards in our uh, Congress and our Senate? Why are they going to devalue it to make it less than? I mean, what? They all going to show up in hoodies and jeans? It's almost like wearing a hoodie and jeans to a funeral when you should look nice, or a wedding, or to a business appointment. You have a with top executives. Well, you know what? Let's just wear torn up jeans and a holy T-shirt and a hoodie, and we're good to go. It's just not professional, folks. When you dress up, it shows respect. And with Fetterman and them falling behind Fetterman to say, well, let's all just wear hoodies and jeans and shorts. No, let's not cover for him. Let's tell him, how hard is it to tell one man, you got to wear a suit, dude? How hard is that? What are they afraid of? What's he going to do? Throw a fit? I'm not understanding the whole power they put behind Fetterman. Granted, he's a swing state that he could possibly win a vote with his state, but you got to have respect when it comes to formal uh, things in Congress and Senate. It's always been this way. They shouldn't be changing the dress codes. And a bikini? Who do you want to see in the bikini? I've went through and there's some young ones in there, but I don't know. Well, what the heck are they thinking? Yeah. Now, those of you that don't know, we have a date for the first Biden impeachment inquiry hearing. It's going to be September 28th. They're moving along quickly. I hope they have all their eggs in a row. I hope they got all the documents, all the pictures, everything that not only, oh goodness, because you can look into a lot of people. Alex Jones have shown it. Peter Schweiss has shown it. Glenn Beck, Breitbart. Um, I know Fox News has been all over it. Um, Mark Levin, all of them have been all over this of showing Rudy Giuliani. Why didn't they take the last um, um, laptop from him, or the server? There you go, the last server from him. Why did they say, "Oh no, we don't need that"? Now it's an issue. They're saying he's held on to it. No, he it said they didn't want it. They took the other three, but they didn't take the last server or the last part of the computer. And he offered it and said, you might want this. Well, that was the most damning evidence of Hunter Biden there was. And they didn't take it. But we now have a date, September 28th. Now we are going into the last realms of who can jump in on the Democrat race. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? If Biden steps out and Kamala Harris is and all that, I'm hearing Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. Why? Because they could be directed what to say. They don't want someone in there that's going to be confident and do on their own, like Kennedy or Newsom. And some even say, oh, Michelle Obama could jump in at the very end. We don't know. They're being tight-lipped. What I think they're working on more, though, folks, is what they're going to do if a Republican gets in office. They have got to get the lawsuits in line. If it's DeSantis, they are going to do to him just like they did to Trump. It's lawsuit after lawsuit, impeachment, impeachment. They're going to go after every little thing he does. It's not going to be jumping to conclusions like they did, like the Democrats have done. Um, and the one thing that that really gets me is um, Biden has now proposed a 50-year drilling mining ban for thousands of acres of New Mexico land. He's trying to shut the oil down now. He has done it up in Alaska, now New Mexico. More and more, he's shutting down the oil drilling. Uh, he keeps saying, "Oh, we're giving them all of these um, permits to be able to drill," and in the meantime, they cannot be used. These are stopped to where they cannot use them to drill. And then he's going Democrat state to Democrat state to stop the flow of the oil or even the natural gas because EV is so important right now. What are we going to do when you're not allowed an air conditioner? Well, you got to get your heater replaced. You got to have your water heater replaced. You can't have a ceiling fan. You can't have a microwave. Why can't we have a microwave? Huh? No gas stoves. You have to replace your refrigerator. All of this that they're expecting the average low income person to replace. Of course, they're going to look at their landlords if they're a landlord, but what if you own your own home? All this has got what? I'm not going to be able to have my ceiling fan above me to keep me cool. Not even a fan. And you know what? ACs, they're bad. So are heaters that have propane or gas, natural gas. They're all bad. So how do we stay warm in the winter? Because the plug-in ones, oh yeah, that's next. They say those are a fire hazard and shouldn't be allowed in the homes. It's gone so radical on this administration. I don't even think Joe Biden was this radical 10 years ago. He was more about segregation and making money for the Democrat Party. It wasn't about all these regulations and Green New Deal. We didn't hear about the Green New Deal till AOC and the 2016 election. Bernie Sanders, we're all going to die. And that's where I heard about it. And if you're new, I'm going to let you know that back in the 70s, my dad called me in to watch a news show. He said, "Look at this fool. He claimed we're all going to die." I said, "Dad, but you know what?" Because back then I was big ecology. We got to take care of the air we breathe, and we can't just be polluting California like we have been. And I seen the pollution in California. It was horrible in the 70s. But here's Bernie Sanders. If we don't get rid of the cars in the next 5 years, we're all going to die in 8 years. That was in 1977, folks. And a couple of years later, we're all going to die, folks. We don't get rid of the automobiles and we don't change our ways and cut gas and start closing down some of the oil wells. We're all going to die in 8 years. And it went all the way till now. And what did they say in 2016 to little Greta? Well, yeah, we're all going to be done for in 6 years. Now, 6 years went by, and she's like, "Wait a minute. I don't see nothing happening." Yeah, we all got duped. And then I feel I got duped from 1977 on. So, and this is who we want to put in office? Or is it Elizabeth Warren? Is it Michelle Obama? We don't know. They don't want Kennedy, folks. They definitely don't want Kennedy. And the Taliban has detained 18 Americans for promoting Christianity. This was they raided the Swiss office's nonprofit group based in Afghanistan. So this is Afghanistan, and they're starting to round Christians up. And they say it's for either re-education camp, but if they're hostile, they're probably going to kill them. But they're holding hostages. Now, we just now seen we paid out $6 billion to Iran for hostages. They're saying, oh no, it was about South Korea. Well, why is it that across the globe, all the way around the world, now all of these third world countries are snagging Americans saying, you know, we can get billions of dollars this way? That's the rumors. That's the whispers of what's going on around the globe. My resources around the globe, from Africa to Japan to Hawaii to Canada to over there in Ukraine and other places, Israel. Everybody is now hearing, you know what? If we get Americans, we can make billions of dollars. Is this going to be the new phase of the globe, of these third world nations, to where they know that who cares about the ship? If they can get the Americans, we'll pay for it. And not only that, but then we see Zelensky. Now, this is what gets me. Zelensky and Biden both at the UN saying, we need money for Ukraine, like 25 million, all the way to maybe in the billions, because we need to fight this war. Why? Why do we need to fight? Why do we need to be in a war? Well, because of Russia. Well, did you ever think that not only Russia, but some of these third world nations that we're going after? Because it didn't dawn on me till I heard a hearing, and I started hearing what the wars or partial wars or proxy wars or even hint of wars around the globe, of them saying, well, you know what? Uh, we need to take a look at what we can get away with. What can we soak the United States with? Are we going to be able to get weapons? Are we going to get aid? Are we going to get money? And they're looking at what we're seeing in Ukraine at this point, and we're soaking millions into it. So is Taiwan next? They're barely even sending anything to Taiwan. And now we have Jinping saying, hey, let's be buddies. Just keep sending the money to us. Are we ready for war with Taiwan? More than likely. Are we ready for a war in three different places? This would be the first time. I don't know. Maybe William will tell me something different. Um, that we have got a war fixing to break out in Israel or Syria. Then we got Ukraine and we're going to go against Russia. Then there's a good possibility that in Taiwan. What about in Africa? Because we are in a war with Africa. What's in Africa? Well, we have everything that could make a battery for these EV cars, lithium, and there's uranium, there's gold, there's diamonds. Africa is very rich in resources. And we started to move in, and then boom, China, Russia are right there. Same way with Australia. Same way with South America now. Is it about the resources? And then you say, what's in Ukraine? Gas, gas. And we have 5 labs over there with the NIH. And it's coming out in the hearings with the CDC director that she's even saying there's a lot going on over that we can experiment on in Ukraine with a few labs over there. What are they now? All of a sudden, we have a pandemic over here. There's this one that's in India that kills people. 50% of the people it infects. We have it in Africa. We're seeing new forms of COVID popping up in the United States. What are they creating in these labs? Remember, it was all China. It's all China did it, they said. Or did we? And did Fauci, was how big a part of Fauci was in these labs all over the world that he seems all of a sudden be a big part of? He was a big part of in Wuhan. He was a big part of what we seen with the labs over there. He's a big part of the labs over here in the United States, a big part of the labs over there in Ukraine and South America. Why is Fauci in all these places that all of a sudden have got pandemics that can kill 50% of the people? It's called depopulation. Yeah. So, um, as far as the Taliban folks, what's scary is the Taliban. It's not just the Taliban. It's Hamas. It's Hezbollah. It is cartel. They are now finding that they found 24 ISIS and cartel that snuck over through real close to El Paso. Um, they were all in camouflage. Now we're also finding that the cartel is sneaking in with um, other migrants that are setting up camps on our side of the border. So they're sneaking over the wall or the barriers. Then they're setting up camps. Then they're having more and more and more show up. So these camps are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what are they? Terrorist camps, cartel. So they are taking not just taking over their side of the Mexican border, but now they are working on building up control on our side, the United States border. And I think Mia Lee's going to do a good sized show on this, on what's going on at the border on Thursday. So now, what about crime? Well, we all know crime is up, and we got um, Adams up there going, "Oh, we can't handle this." Colorado and Denver, "Oh, we can't handle this." Sacramento, "Oh boy, the crime rate's up." LA, San Diego, all over the United States, Chicago. They're all of the mayors and some even senators, Congress, and governors are saying that the crime is just horrendous. And so what do? Most of them have canceled the cash bail, defunded the police. Well, it finally gets to Washington, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, we need a fence around D.C." And why? Because now, you can't. You're not going to get anything robbing a poor person. You're not going to get anything robbing somebody that's got macaroni and cheese coming out of the store. They're not going to have but a few pennies in their pockets. Well, they found if you go enter D.C., you got wealthy politicians with nice cars. Well, now they're starting to rob the inner part of D.C. They're robbing top um, DAs of attorneys, Congress, Senate, their aides. Yeah, their houses. Well, yeah, because it's got stuff. I mean, if you go, now I've been there, and you go, you got DC, and you go outside the farthest points of DC, you go into the suburbs, and then you got the middle class, and then boom, it's ghetto. That's what I call it. We called it the ghetto growing up, and it's the poor people, but it's the gangs, and they're looking at, okay, we've been through the suburbs, you know what? It's like easy pickings like LA. Let's go to Rodeo Drive and we'll really get some stuff. And that's what they're doing. Well, now people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are saying, no, we need fence. We can't have them get in and rob us. We're not supposed to be robbed. They're not allowed to do that. Well, a criminal don't care If you're rich and you got money and they want your car, they're going to come get it. And now DC is saying that crime is so bad that Congress is distributing tips to avoid being carjacked at the Capitol. They're telling them, walk 2 by 2. Don't go to your car alone. Didn't we learn that many years ago? I did. Well, they haven't had to learn that because, they got Secret Service and they got cameras and they got police. They got Capitol Police. But, when you park on the far reaches, you don't always get walked to your car. And they're losing their cars. There is a 50% increase in crime in D.C. capital area. Some will say it serves them right. Karma, yeah. And then we got, they're saying it's Abbott's fault. Governor Abbott, because he's sending these migrants. Whoa, I thought they were good people. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi, I thought these were good people, just looking for a place to live. When did they become thugs? I thought these were nice family migrants. Well, now they're complaining that Abbott is sending all of these migrants to their cities, and now they're being robbed. I would say quit your whining. I'd give them all a pacifier and a bottle. Maybe, a baby toy, teddy bear to hug on, because this is what we've all been going through. I say keep sending them. And Abbott's saying he's deliberately sending the people to New York. No. And it's been shown. Why don't they all go to the border and take a look? They line the buses up. And, if you want to go to San Diego or Sacramento, or maybe you want to go to Seattle, maybe you want to go Denver, maybe you want to go down to Florida, or you want to go to Chicago or New York City, or you want to stay here, here's all the buses, and you just line up. And when we fill one up, it moves out. The people are deciding to go to New York City. They're not being pushed and forced. They're sending them where they want to go. Well, sorry, Abbott. Adams isn't going to put up with this. He's going to blame you for it all. Well, if he wouldn't just stand in front of a microphone and say, it's all Abbott's fault, it's Abbott's fault, why doesn't he go after who started the sanctuary city? Now, I'm going to say Adams, don't get mad at me. Adams, it's not his fault. When he got elected, he walked into sanctuary city. But how hard would it be to stop it? If they put it in and they voted it in, how many votes would it take? Or would he be able to just vote it and say, we're no longer a sanctuary city, enough's enough? Well, no one's ever looked into that. And now get this, I'm finding out from my ladies at the Capitol that some are trying to do this. And Nancy Pelosi and her little buddies are all blocking everybody from being able to even look into it. Because she's the one, remember she said, oh, I love MS-13. MS-13 are good boys, she said. They don't mean no harm. They just want a new life. And now we've got MS-13 all over the country that are shooting people, killing people, robbing people, getting in with the gangs and having them do the same thing. Not only that, but some of them are cannibals. Nancy Pelosi, time to wake up. Is she senile yet? Do we know if Karen, is Nancy Pelosi senile enough that we could take her out? I mean, I grew up in California with her, and I hated her. Her, Barbara Boxer, Feinstein, they were like the little Three Muska, let's take California down tiers. They ruined San Francisco and Sacramento, where I grew up. They ruined the Bay Area. They made it unsafe to even go to Stockton or Fresno. And then as the crime rate rose in Southern California, they didn't care. They just put in Maxine Waters. Yeah, Maxine Waters will take care of it. Even Maxine Waters says, wait a minute, there's a bunch of drugs down here. Why are you letting this happen? And they shushed her up. They called her into closed doors, and she came out. Oh yeah, I'm okay with everybody, and yeah, I'm okay with crime. We're gonna and the homeless. We're okay with it. It's not that bad. And still to this day, they're all still in office, except for Boxer. Boy, I tell you. Um, and I told you the Illinois Democrats abolished the cash bail. Many of states that are Democrats is going to get rid of cash bail. So, and they don't really even have to see a judge until they have to go to court. So, are they going to go to court? If they're given a slip and they said, you know what, we've got you. We got like umpteen pounds of cocaine in your car. We're going to go ahead and let you out. Now, just promise you'll come back and see the judge in 2 years. It sounded like the migrants almost. Yeah, we're going to let you in, and here's your little slip of paper, and come back in 2 years and see the judge. How many more crimes are going to be committed? What about those that are beating up people in the streets, hurting people, killing people? Who is going to have no cash bail? And the thing gets me is, folks, New York had that child care center with the fentanyl. You know that they had at one time it started as a daycare center, and they slowly didn't have no kids, and what it became was a lab to make meth, to not only make meth, but to make fentanyl. So it was a fentanyl lab, and it was the fumes that killed those kids. And you only have to wonder if the feds were starting to catch on to them up there in New York, that they didn't bring some kids in to cover it up, saying, "No, it's just a child care center. There's no lab here." What kind of people do that? Start a lab, a fentanyl lab, in a child care center, and then bring kids in, knowing they knew. Why do you think they're arresting them? It's because they know how dangerous fentanyl is. They know how dangerous the fumes are. It's the same way with a meth lab. A meth lab, the fumes is what is deadly. And that's what was affecting many kids. They were breathing in the meth fumes, and now we've got screwed up kids generations later. I hope they throw the book at these people. A fentanyl lab in the middle of a child care center? Where's Adams on this? He ought to be him. What about the lady that's going after Trump, the AG, New York? Where is she at on this? Is it okay, I guess, with her that, they have a fentanyl lab in the middle of a daycare center? Yeah, if anybody's seen her yet, folks? I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words on it. But I haven't really even seen her on this yet, or even Adams. Where are these people on this to say it's wrong? You see the sheriffs and all of them saying they're arresting them. They're going to throw the book at them. Or is this AG that didn't like Trump going to jump in and say, no, we'll just let them out? They're not that bad of people. They were taking care of kids. These are good guys. Is she going to defend them, or is she going to take them to the cleaners for this? A little boy, a little itty bitty, a 3-year-old, I think is what it was. Wow. What are the Democrats coming to? Is it death for the kids? Is it death for the old people? Is it death to all of us? And then they don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. They're killing their own people too. They don't care if they're screwing over their own voters. I mean, if I was a Democrat voter, I'd be going, wait a minute. Why I thought we were the good guys. Why are you going? Why are you doing things to me too that affect me? You would think, you would really think, but they're not. They're just hardcore Democrats that will vote Democrat till their dying days. Maybe all of this will wake them up. Maybe the corruption of what we're seeing for the last since 2020. Maybe they'll wake up and see what's going on, because even the college students, the African American voters, uh, most of what has come in from Mexico, all of them that have now settled in, they're all saying no. This isn't. We thought we would be able to live in in America. Now they're talking going back to Mexico because they can't afford to live here. They want to work here and live in Mexico, so it's cheaper. See it, and it didn't help. None of it helped. Oh yeah. All right. I still got much more to go. Uh, um, Now, fact checkers, um, um, all the fact checkers, and NBC and all of them, they got their fact checkers. They're all like everybody's scrambling to find out, did everything happen in Ukraine the way that it's been said by the GOP, and that meaning that Joe Biden was a big part of this, and maybe even Obama. Well, the fact checkers are coming back. So what they want to do is change the narrative a little bit. Well, maybe he didn't really even mean, he was just joking. He was going to fire that prosecutor. They're starting to try to change the wording, the situation, or the way it happened, so it doesn't look so bad on Joe Biden. Why? You know, uh, if it happened that way, there's so many documents that they can. What I'm getting is the media. They'll tell you, oh, what? No, it didn't happen like that. It happened this way. It happened this way, and all of them say the same thing over and over. It's Operation Mockingbird, where they repeat the same story over and over and over and over again, and then everybody starts believing it. Well, what happens when it comes out in court and here's the document? It's the same thing they did in the Mueller case, folks, because this is what they did. And so when Mueller came out and they said, and I still hear people today saying, see, when Mueller came out, he said Trump was corrupt. He did all those things. It was like, what? No, did you read it? No, I don't have time to read that. That's not what it said, though. That's not what the outcome was. They pretty much cleared him. Oh, no, they didn't, because the media said so. The media. That was one of the first things that the Clintons grabbed hold of in Arkansas when they did their corruption here. As long as the media said it, it was believed. The media said it, it was believed. And, of course, a lovable Bill Clinton on there. If the media said it, he said it, it was fact. And that's what we're seeing. But what happens when the truth comes out? Or what is going to happen? Is this pushing for a civil war like we are seeing across the globe with this foreign policy of I seen a hearing the other day where when you look at it, why are we dropping troops in places we really need them and putting troops or putting weapons in a place that don't really need it, but we want to win that war? It's like a pick and choose. Like, Syria, well, we're not going to help Syria so much. Israel's got it. Well, Israel really doesn't got it. They need, now that Russia and China and Iran are moving in, they need the help. No, it's got to be Ukraine. What about Taiwan? Very little, very little assistance going to Taiwan, billions going to Ukraine. And I really think they're doing this to push a war. William may think I'm wrong on this. We could talk this tomorrow. But I think they what they're doing is they're pushing more and more and more and more weapons and millions and billions of dollars into Ukraine to get Russia to attack. Because even the Chinese CCP and some of their generals are saying, we're doing is waiting for the Biden administration to push far enough that we have to react. And with our economy, we could use a war to help us out. And then at the same time, Jinping says, we could have been kosher to one another, and we could have had a peace treaty. And then, and at the end of the article, it says, and then we would have taken Taiwan. It would have been okay. No, it never would have been okay, because Taiwan doesn't want to give Taiwan up. Just like Ukraine don't want to give Ukraine up. And, and then we're hearing, this is what gets me is, China has been pushing, and I've talked about this, at the Indian border. Now, the Indian border has claimed back a lot of what they had, but now China says they're going to build up and take it back. It's like a tit for tat over there. Is that what's going on until someone, what Russia, what I read with a Russia general said? We can totally revamp all of our men, which they were fixing to do. And they said the whole thing is the Bidens and NATO and others are putting in military equipment. They're putting in planes. They're putting in tanks. They're putting in money, humanitarian aid, everything to make Ukraine bigger and bigger and bigger. And the response, the thing was, the general said, are they trying to start a war? Are they trying to start World War III? Do they want us to strike? Or are they going to push it to the point where they strike and the war begins? And is this happening other places around the globe? And that's what, even Israel has said it. Taiwan has even starting to think that way. So is Japan. Japan don't like North Korea firing missiles over the top of them. And of course, Hawaii. Hawaii is now saying North Korea wants us. And if North Korea decides to strike, we could be first. Where is our help? Well, the Biden administration is only worried about Ukraine. Why? Maybe in 20 years in history, we will start to see the reasoning of what this administration was trying to do. It's to start a war. And my dad taught me, wars make money for the United States. Are we making money? No, we're losing money because we hadn't even went to war. How long has Ukraine been going? 2009, 8? And 2016, we started to meddle into their war. And then 2020, boom, we're in. Why? What is it about Russia that we have to overcome? Maybe it was because it was a third world power. Over the years, they have always been beneath us. Well, now we're seeing that we could be 4th or 5th or 10th on the list. We still got the best military, but as far as overall as a country, we're slipping as far as everything else but the military. And now we are even looking at, and this hearing I saw the other day, I was just appalled that Miley and of Lloyd, Sullivan, and a few others were at this hearing. Sullivan wasn't. And they were okay with the trannies on the base. Oh, we're not supporting it, nor do we like it. Well, you're having it and you're paying for it. Well, we don't approve of it. We don't like it. And that's all they would answer to. But what got me was when the one senator got up there and started bringing out the faults of Syria or Afghanistan and saying, do you realize that the military was ready to hold that airport? They were going to basically uh, do put out a military force that they could have kept that air. They could have kept that airport until they did it the right way to get everyone out safely and get all of the military members, even those Afghanis that fought for the United States over there. But they didn't. It was like a free for all. Let's get out, and then we're going to leave, and we see. Well, we know the mess. And this senator reminded them it's not just Afghanistan we did this. We did it to Syria. We did it to Iraq. We have done this over and over and over again under only Democrat rule, a little bit under Bush, he said, but most of it was under Obama, Clinton, and now Biden. And we could have saved so many in Afghanistan. What is going on to where we are letting these countries overpower us in foreign policy? And they're saying, oh well, you know what they bring up when you ask them this? They say, well, Trump brought in 50 hostages home, and Joe Biden's up at 30. What's that got anything to do with what they did to Afghanistan and that we could have had full control over it and did it right? They always want to change the subject. And everybody wants to say that there is a disarray of the GOP. I don't think there is, folks. I'm having my gals sneak around, talk to them, ask them, what's going on here? Are you guys together on this? They seem pretty much together. And they are taking very small steps, safe steps. And this is where I think a lot don't understand, folks, is that they're taking safe steps because, if they screw up and do one thing wrong in court, the Democrats will make mincemeat of them and they'll have it all thrown out and they'll never be able to charge them again. Let them take their time. Don't say, oh, they're they're slacking, they're not doing enough. They should have Hunter in prison by now, and Joe ought to be impeached. And that's what they did to us, and it didn't work. They tried to impeach Trump twice. It didn't work. Why? Because they jumped too quick. Let the GOP do their job and see what happens. And then later, if they screw up, we'll vote them out because we're getting closer and closer to election, and closer and closer. Get this: today, Joe Biden said, "How about we make today automatic registration day, to where if you voted in the past, okay, or anybody that has voted in the past 5 years, they're automatically registered." Well, oh boy, when is that going to be automatically vote for the party that they just voted for? This isn't sounding good. And he said he don't see a problem with stuffing ballot boxes. Oh no, he didn't say that, right? Yeah, he said it on the way out. No, not too many caught it. I had to take it back and listen and take it back and listen. Go back and listen to a few of his last few speeches where he's just about ready to leave and he says it. Well, I thought we vote. I didn't know we stuffed ballot boxes. Hopefully this show don't get me taken today. Uh, but why would you say that? Oops, because he's old and he's got dementia. He just speaks his mind. I mean, all of us know with ailing and older parents that they just say what they say. Otherwise Karen, wouldn't we keep our family duct taped half the time if so they wouldn't say what we didn't want them to say? We just put up with it. And it's like, oh yeah, mom and dad, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, grandma and grandpa. Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah. So, boy, I tell you. I'm going to get these last few. Boy, I've had a lot of news today. Um, now, the biggest one is Pennsylvania, folks. If Karen and a few others, if you're in Pennsylvania, they're going to announce automatic voter registration. They're going to start it there and see how it works. You're the trial run. Now, and then, where did Iran play a part in with what's going on? I mean, because we know that uh, we had Kim Jong Un see Putin. Uh, he's conversed with Jinping. Now, where's Iran fit in? Well, Iran is now saying they're going to start sending some really sophisticated drones, not only to Russia, but to China for the war, and even some to North Korea. So they're talking. BRICS is talking. They're making swaps. They're making who's got what and who. What do you have that will strengthen my country, and what does my country have to strengthen yours? And I think this is getting set up for a very big world war. Me and William do the World War III report on Wednesdays. You have to come back tomorrow and watch. But it's now getting closer and closer. And some even feel we're already in the war. And I was like jumping for joy when I heard it of the weather, the earthquakes. Is this a prelude to a weather war that will lead into the big war? While we're just striking here and striking there and striking here and striking there, we got the skirmish over here and over there. And China wants Taiwan. Ukraine wants parts of Russia. NATO wants Russia taken down. Sooner or later, it's all going to bubble up, and we're going to see a war around the world that we've never seen. Not even our parents that went through World War I and World War II. It's going to be way bigger than they experienced. And we got to be ready. We got to be ready. And I'm not saying go prepare food. I'm just saying be prepared when you hear that first strike. Decide what you're going to do, what you and your family are going to do. I doubt if we'll see any war in the United States. I think it's just going to be down to those areas and those countries. All right, lastly, I could have done a weird but true last night. And I was going to, but I thought, no, I'm just going to go ahead and move on. And everybody, it was like, it just felt weird. I didn't do the weird but true. Well, there was a baby born with 14 fingers and 12 toes, hailed as a god in India. This baby was born in India. Now, to me, it screamed alien or Nephilium or what aphilium or boy, yeah, a fluke of is this deformity? Or it did, as India would say, is it a god? A baby born with 14 fingers, 7 on each hand, and 12 toes. Is it a god? We don't know. India says they want to raise him as a god. Boy, folks, strange but true. All right. You guys have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow with me and William in the World War III report. Something to think on tonight. Something really, what I had to say. You're not hearing this on the normal news stations. What I tell you and me and William tell you and the shows I do, it's to inform you of what they're not telling you. And I'm going to keep doing it until, I don't know, maybe I'm as senile as Joe Biden. Maybe I'll sing off key and tell you weird stories. All right, folks, you have a wonderful Tuesday night. Subscribe, like, follow, follow us over on Facebook. Hit the like, the thumbs up, the hearts, and most of all, tell your friends and family to come watch us. All right, folks. See you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday. Bye bye.